Hi book lovers, my name is Mira and I want to share with you all the books I got lately. So let's get into this book haul. First two books I want to show you are the books that I got from Göteborg, Sweden when I was there on a trip. The first book I bought is this tiny adorable insect book. It is in Swedish. No, I do not speak Swedish. I am learning some basics for like 2 months now and I thought it's gonna be nice to pick some Swedish book, translate it sentence by sentence and maybe actually learn some of the language this way. Inside the book, there's also these adorable insect pictures, and I just really like it. The second book I got is Guy Gabriel Kai. This is the second book I bought from this author. I still didn't read any of his books. I hope to read one of his books this autumn, so very soon. Another two books I got are both secondhand. It is yet another Guy Gabriel Kai. So this is the third book I own from him. I know it is a sequel to another book called Under Heaven, so I will not be reading this first. I need to get the other book and read this after. This is a Chinese setting and I don't know much more about it. When I heard people talk about this author, they mentioned The Lions of Al Rafa, also Song of Arbonne, but I never actually heard about these two books, which is exciting. Maybe it's gonna be amazing and I can get to recommend these books to other people. Another book I got secondhand is super popular book Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. This is the staple of the cozy fantasy genre. I really wanted to get these covers, the US covers, not the UK covers, so it took me some time to get my hands on it, but at last I have this book. I also want to get the pretty cover of Bookshops and Bone Dust. So far I was not successful. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I will get the book. I actually plan to read the prequel first. Some people, after reading Legends and Lattes and really loving it, did not enjoy the prequel as much. There were not much new information for the reader, so I thought maybe it's a good idea to start with the prequel. I will let you know if it was a good order of reading. Hopefully I will be reading it before the end of this year. Another fantasy book I got is The Jasmine Throne from Tasha Suri. It is an Indian setting that is interesting to me because I want to read something else, not just the medieval Europe setting all the time. So I grabbed the first book in this, I think, trilogy. A lot of times I buy all the books in a trilogy before starting reading through them. However, with this one, I will try to read it first and see for myself if I like this story. Some people loved it and some people thought it was average and did not continue to read through whole series. So I will see for myself. Next book I got is Heretics of Dune, a sci-fi. It is the fifth book in the Dune books by Frank Herbert, and now I have the whole collection of the 6 Dune books. I did buy the last book before this one. I wanted to grab a copy of this while buying the 6th book. However, in the store, the physical copy of this was very weathered and kinda torn up, and I honestly don't understand what some people are doing, handling the books they don't even own in the bookstore very roughly and damaging it. I don't know about you, but when I'm in the bookstore, I always try to be extra careful. Nobody likes to buy a new book that already looks like it has been used, so I also don't want to do that for other people. Another sci-fi book I bought and I want to show for sure is Ocean's Godori by Ellen Yu Cho. This book caught my eye by the absolutely stunning cover. Love the art style so much. Shout out to the artist. This is a space opera debut novel. Other than the beautiful cover, the main character being Korean also grabbed my attention for sure because I actually studied Korean studies. So that is very interesting aspect. When you combine sci-fi, Korean character, absolutely stunning cover, I'm sold. I'm not sure when I will read through this, but I'm already excited. Now let's go back to fantasy with the next book, The Tales of the Dying Earth by Jack Vance. This is one of the fantasy masterworks. The first story of this was published in 1945, actually is cornerstone of a subgenre of dying earth settings. I got interested by this setting because this is set in a distant future and the sun is dying. Logically, that means the earth is dying as well. It's a very interesting setting. In the past, I got the Book of the New Sun as well from Jean Wolfe. These books are inspired by the dying earth as it is in the same subgenre. I wanted to read this first, but seeing as this is the ancestor of these stories, I think I will read through this first. This year I read through The Empire of the Wolf, the third book, Trials of Empire. As you can see, I am reading through it right now and I'm really enjoying it. For me, the first book was the weakest, and then I really liked the second book and now this third book. I would recommend you to give this trilogy a try, while keeping in mind that the first book is weaker and you should go and try the second book as well before deciding if you like it or not. The first book is focused on more some mystery and investigation. In the second and third book, the characters see some horrors that are on the verge of comprehension for the human mind. When I finished the second book, I was expecting the story to continue in 2 more books to get a really good conclusion. I was a little bit worried, how is story about an empire gonna be concluded in just the third book? But I read half of the book and I feel like it's going well so far. From the characters, I have to give shout out to Helena and also Dubine and Sir Radomir. I really like these 3 characters. And I have to say, unfortunately, Sir Wonval, which is one of the 2 main characters, is not my favorite at all. I know he is written to be very morally grey, but to me, in the second and especially the third book, I really don't enjoy his behavior. So that's my opinion and I can't wait to finish this. I also got Jade Legacy, which completes the Greenbone saga from Fonda Lee. I still did not start this series, but it's probably the most popular urban fantasy. I honestly am not a big fan of urban fantasy. Seeing the popularity of this made me buy the whole trilogy right away without giving it a try. I believe in people loving this and I hope it's not a lie. This is said to have some Godfather vibes, with family being important and some war over resource, the jade in this case. It is supposed to tug at your heartstrings and make you invested in the characters, and there's also kung fu elements. It is definitely something new to try for me and I hope to read it next year. One of the absolutely most loved sci-fi stories there is of course Red Rising Saga, so I did buy the second book, Golden Sun, as well as the third book, Morning Star. Right now I have the first 3 books and I did read the first book called Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I have to admit the book was one of my 5 stars predictions and it did not come true. I gave the first book only 3.5 stars and I really did enjoy the first segment of the story, 20% of the book, let's say, and the rest of the first book were in the same line as Hunger Games. It wasn't that exciting to read through. However, it is very popular, very well loved, and I'm not losing hope that I will love the rest of the series. Last 2 books from this book haul are The Bitter Twins and The Poison Song. This is called the Winnowing Flame trilogy. I already have the 9th Reign, still didn't read it. I am excited to read it. I saw some people being very invested in this story, getting emotional. This story is recommended, but not as often maybe as it should. And it's supposed to be fantasy with sci-fi elements, which makes me very curious and I can't wait to read it myself. That is all from today's book haul. Let me know down in the comments which books did you read already, which ones do you want to buy and read, which of these books in this book haul is the most exciting to you. That's gonna be all from me. Thank you for watching and sorry for my cat.